right. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Corey didn't mention that he wanted this to be a pep rally when he invited me. I'm an ex-women's high school freshman rowing coach, so I could have helped with some of the planning for that, but 14-year-old girls, I used to wrangle a lot of them. So I need to start off this speech by saying that these thoughts are my own, and they do not represent the position of the Commission. The Commission speaks only through its orders. But as was mentioned, my name is Katherine Peretick. I'm a commissioner on the Michigan Public Service Commission, one of three. I've been on the commission for just over 2 years now, and I also led as a co-leader of one of the Council on Climate Solutions work groups, along with Douglas Jester. This was the work group for energy generation, transmission, distribution, and storage. Was there anybody in here who participated in any of those work groups for the Council on Climate Solutions? Oh yeah, there's a lot of hands up. Excellent, wonderful, thank you. Anybody who was on mine, the energy generation, transmission, distribution? Oh yeah, I recognize some of you. All right, now I know where you are. Okay, good. So thank you for that work. Thank you for all of the time and effort that you put into that, because all of that work that went into those work groups then informed that council, which then led to this climate plan that we get to talk about here today and tomorrow. But my day job is that of a commissioner. This is probably many of you in this room actually understand what that means, unlike a lot of the people in my life, a lot of my friends and family. But our mission statement at the Michigan Public Service Commission is to serve the public by ensuring safe, reliable, and accessible energy and telecommunication services at reasonable rates. That's a lot. That's a big job. It's difficult and often thankless. We have come to expect reliability and affordability from our energy systems. And I don't need to tell you that when it's not reliable, it's bad. It causes a lot of disruptions and a lot of hardship. A lot of you experienced that if you're from this area about a month ago with the ice storms that came through this area. I bet a lot of your power went out. Mine did. And it's hard, it's difficult, and it really causes hardship on lots of people in a lot of different ways. So to add to the challenge that I've already described in the mission statement, now we have to add the transitions that are happening to our energy supply, which is a key focus of this conference. The My Healthy Climate Plan has a 60% renewable energy goal by 2030 and a 4,000 megawatt grid scale energy storage goal by 2040. It also has a lot of other things, but for my 15 minutes up here, that's what I'm talking about, are those goals. That's a big change. That's a big challenge. But it's an exciting challenge. And I'm the kind of person who likes running towards the challenges, not away from them. And I bet a lot of you in here are too. And that's how I ended up in this job, actually. I'm a mechanical engineer by training. I was an intern at NASA for my first job out of college, and got a chance to work on some really exciting projects, including the Curiosity rover that was launched in 2011 and is still up on Mars, roving around and doing its science thing up there. I also got to work on the Juno spacecraft that went to Jupiter to measure the gravitational fields in the atmosphere of that gas giant. And it was so much fun. I loved it. It was a fantastic experience. But I did really realize, as a part of that we did have a bigger challenge here on Earth, and that was solving the energy problems that we have. So I transitioned to working in energy, and that's where I've been ever since. I started off in wind, designing wind turbines for 2 years, and then realized that there was going to be an issue when we got to larger concentrations of wind and solar on the electric grid. I'm sure something that everybody's familiar with. So I moved into energy storage, thinking that would be a place where we would be able to solve some of those problems and really integrate the needed amounts of renewable energy onto the electric grid. And I started working at a startup company here in Michigan that was inventing a form of long-duration energy storage. And if anybody's interested in nerding out about energy storage, about round-trip efficiencies or thermal profiles, please come find me at some point over the next couple days. I do still love talking about that, even though I don't get to as much anymore in my current role. But as I was working on those projects and developing these energy storage facilities, I started running into a lot of regulatory hurdles. The regulations didn't match the needs of the grid or the required advances in the technology. So when a spot opened up on the Public Service Commission, I went all in. And now I want to make sure that we're not standing in the way. That rather than blocking innovation and slowing any progress of the energy transition, that we are enacting effective and forward-looking regulations. Our work on the Commission is unique. We don't set policy and we don't enact goals. What we do is serve Michiganders by ensuring safe, accessible, and reliable energy at reasonable rates. It's a big job, and let me tell you, I feel the pressure of it. I feel responsible when we fail. And for any wonks out there who may watch our live-streamed commission meetings, you've seen me cry from the bench when we haven't been able to protect everyone. I try my hardest every day to ensure that we're on the right track and that I'm preparing for these big changes ahead of us. So let's talk about some of those challenges. The balance between safety, accessibility, reliability, and affordability. So you've probably heard the saying before, good, fast, cheap, you can only have two. That's an adage in the business world, but it can't be true for us as regulators. Not only do we have to ensure three qualities, but we have a fourth one too. And then let's throw in a fifth challenge, the energy transition. Current commission-approved plans have our Michigan utilities hitting 21% renewable generation by 2030. That's up from 11% right now. And then the goals from the My Healthy Climate Plan that I noted are even higher, 60% of the state's electricity from renewable resources by 2030. It's already 2023. And that also includes 4,000 megawatts of grid-scale storage by 2040. So if anyone thought that energy regulation was boring, I hope I've helped to change your minds. These challenges are also what makes it exciting, and what makes me want to dig in and find the best solutions for our state. We have been able to make progress. And I do want to talk about some of the things that we've done at the Commission over the last few years in pursuit of these goals with the energy transition in mind. I'm going to try not to get too into the weeds about how the Commission works, because I was told to be inspirational up here. But it does seem that the broader energy community is starting to realize the importance of state commission regulations. So for those of you on energy Twitter or subscribers to many of the various energy publications out there, you may have noticed this. Headlines have been popping up recently like, quote, utility regulators hold the key to the transition from fossil fuels, and, quote, innovation and regulation can greenlight a more affordable, reliable, clean power system. So I actually don't think I'm taking too much of a risk stepping out of inspirational territory into boring. I'm taking a bet that most of you in this room are on the side of those media trends and are a little bit more interested in the nuts and bolts of how we're preparing for this shift into cleaner and more distributed energy here in Michigan. So I have 8 actions here for you. The first is approvals and rate cases that support the energy transition and remove some of the barriers. This is our main way of regulating, is approving rates. And there are some really exciting programs that have come out of these recent rate cases. So for example, we've approved several programs that help make EVs more accessible to low-income customers and assist transit agencies in deploying electric buses. We've directed proposals for community solar projects to allow more customers, including those who are low income or living in multifamily housing, to benefit from renewable energy. We've approved a pilot for electrifying residential use of propane for heating and other uses. We're facilitating 2 technical conferences to sort out some details and put together a real plan for 2 of the big players in the energy transition. And those are energy storage and electric vehicles. So keep an eye out for an official order setting these up in the very near future. I would love to have everyone here participate who's interested and has opinions on how both storage and EVs should play a role in Michigan's energy landscape. We're working with a national lab to conduct a grid integration study to identify the impacts of increased distributed energy and EVs, the expected scale of expansion, and understand any impacts, positive or negative, on electric reliability. And keep an eye out for an order at our April 24th Commission meeting that will include a draft report. We want your comments on this draft report so we can see if we're missing anything, what we've gotten right or wrong, and where changes need to be made to make it better. We highly value your input and participation, and we really do need all voices present to present an accurate depiction of what we need here in Michigan. We're leading work groups to analyze and demonstrate hosting capacity throughout the state, where the grid can accommodate integration of further distributed generation systems and electric vehicle infrastructure. We're performing an audit on 2 of our largest utilities in Michigan to better understand 2 things. First, the state of physical electrical distribution infrastructure, and then the state of the programs and processes in place for maintaining grid reliability. It's absolutely critical that we have a reliable and resilient electric grid as we move towards increased distributed generation and electrification. We're conducting a nuclear feasibility study that's directed by the legislature so we can understand the potential for any small modular reactors and other nuclear generation to contribute to decarbonization. We initiated an expedited pilot process where utilities can get faster and more predictable approval for new energy technologies. And then finally, we're keeping a close eye on how federal funding through the IIJA, IRA, Loan Programs Office can help with decarbonization and new clean resources. And we actually hired someone at the commission whose main job is just that, federal funding every day. He's sitting right there, I see him, Nate Bernand, who's in the audience. And also Sarah Molkoff at the same table spends a lot of her time on federal funding for us too. So I'm gonna stop there, not because I want to, but because I only have a few minutes left. There's so much more that we're doing right now, and more ideas and proposals and initiatives every day. We're already making progress, and we continue to make more. I'm not going through this list as a way of trying to prove that we're doing enough. I know that we have so much more work to do to get ready. Rather, I'm saying this as a way of asking for help. We absolutely need the help from people like you who participate in our cases, who invent the new technologies, who ask the tough questions, who bring the diverse voices into the conversation, and who push the boundaries and move the vision for our state forward. Working on these big, hard challenges is fun, and while sometimes progress isn't going to be linear, we of course are going to have our setbacks, our mistakes, our failures. We'll learn from them. And we need to be okay being vulnerable, putting ourselves out there for criticism, expressing emotion, even if the court reporter doesn't know how to indicate my tears on the record. But through all of this, we need to keep our goal in mind. We need to talk to our friends and our colleagues who are working towards that same goal and use them for support. I bet all of you in this room at some point have reached out to someone else here for support, or for a pep talk, or for inspiration. I know I have. If you have, go find them and thank them sometime today or tomorrow. And if you haven't, I recommend doing it. Because we all have big goals that we're working towards, and that goal is going to take all of us working and pushing and breaking down those barriers. Thank you.